And we welcome you to X Stadium for the 85th National Baseball Congress World Series, powered by West Star Energy. This is Frank Martinez. I will be your play-by-play announcer for tonight's game. This game will feature the visiting team, the Wellington, Kansas Heat, versus the home team, the Denver, Colorado Cougars. Here's our starting lineups for today's game. First of all, for the Heat, leading off and playing right field will be number 1, Luke Royal. Batting second, the second baseman, number 8, Christian Meza. Batting third and catching will be number 7, Hunter Hudson. Batting fourth and DHing, number 25, Pete Shearer. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 37, Talon Schaller. Batting sixth and playing left field will be number 24, Jaden Heckman. Batting seventh and playing third base will be number 4, Noah Banks. Batting eighth and playing center field will be number 11, Jacob Allen. Batting ninth and playing shortstop will be number 5, Buster Hartman. And pitching for the Wellington Heat will be number 42, Dylan Grove. The head coach for the Heat is Rick Twyman, assisted by Cade Carter, Chad Brown, Andrew Stoll, and Kevin Frady. And it looks like we're about ready to get underway. So leading off for the Wellington Heat will be the right fielder, number 1, Luke Royal. Our umpire for tonight's game at home plate, Mike Lentz. Doing the first base will be Mark Wagers, and at third base, Doug Thresher. Once again, we welcome you for our final game here on day 3. And the first pitch is underway. Pitching for the Cougars will be number 29, Eli Thornquist. First pitch was a strike. So the count goes no balls, 1 strike now to Luke Royal, left-handed batter for the Wellington Heat. Defensively for the Cougars at first base, number 32, Strauss. The second baseman will be number 3, Prisado. There's a swing and a miss there by Royal, so the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. At shortstop, we have number 7, Wilbert. Third baseman will be number 18, Schiffner. Left fielder, number 19, McClellan. Just missing outside, so the count goes to 1 ball, 2 strikes. Once again, Eli Thornquist on the mound for the Denver Cougars. We'll finish up with the outfield. There's a hard hit ball into right center field. The center fielder diving for it, not going to be able to get to it. And that's going to be in for extra bases as Luke Royals rounds second base. And he's going to be in with a triple to start off the ball game. Luke Royal. Very familiar with Luke Royal as he played with the Newton Rebels. And he's joined the Wellington Heat here in postseason play. It's going to bring up the second baseman, number 8, Christian Meza. We'll finish up the defense for the Cougars. In left field, we have number 19, McClellan. Center fielder will be number 8, McKisson. And the right fielder will be number 2, Familia. Catching, we'll have number 5, Piquero. And pitching, once again, number 29, Eli Thornquist. That ball 1 to Meza with a runner at third base and no outs here as we just now got underway here in our 4th and final game of the 85th National Baseball Congress World Series, powered by West Star Energy. Meza comes in batting at .333 as he's 1 for 3 here in the tournament. Call strike 1, so the count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike now to Meza. Beautiful evening here in Wichita, Kansas. Call strike 2. That is a clear 77 degrees. The The wind's about 4 miles an hour out of the east. Count is full now to Mesa. And here's a Thornquist pitch. That ball hit to the right side. It's going to be foul along the first base side. So the count will stay full at 3-2. Wellington Heat and the Denver Cougars are out of the Pool B in this round robin. Call strike 3 as Mesa looks at the third strike on the outside corner. So Thornquist records his first strikeout of the ball game. It's going to bring up the catcher number 7, Hunter Hudson. The Denver Cougars are 1-0. Well, actually, I don't think that is correct because they're showing the Wichita Sluggers at 2-0. So the Cougars should be 0-1. And the Wellington Heat also at 0-1. Once again, they take the top 2 teams out of each pool to tomorrow's action. Count is 1 ball, no strikes now to Hudson, who's catching this evening for the Wellington Heat. Luke Royal started it off with a triple. There's a base hit into left field. That will score a run, and that ball gets by the left fielder, McClellan. And we have extra bases now for Hudson as he's going to end up in the third base. So it's going to be a base hit there for Hudson. And an error on the left fielder, McClellan, as he let that get by him. And that's going to bring up the designated hitter number 25, Pete Shearer. Once again, Luke Royal did score from third base. So Hudson gets a base hit and an RBI. Thornquist's pitch is called strike 1 to Shearer. Left-handed batter. For the Wellington Heat. Shearer is from Montrose, Colorado. 6'1", 210-pounder from Washburn University, which he's a senior. Ball hit to the first baseman. He goes unassisted. Another run will score as Hunter Hudson comes in to score. So now we have 2 down here in the top half of the first inning. And he'll bring up the first baseman, number 37, Talon Schuller. So 2-0 is the score in favor of the Wellington Heat here in the top half of the first inning. First pitch to Schuller is ball 1. Schuller is from Denver, Colorado. He's a 6'5", 235-pounder. From CSU Pueblo, where he's a senior. That missing high for ball 2. So the count is 2 balls, no strikes now to Talon Schuller, the first baseman for the Wellington Heat. 2-0 in favor of Wellington as we're just underway. That missing high for ball 3. Schuller is batting .250 as he is 1 for 4 here in the World Series. And this is the first action for Thornquist. That in there called strike 1 by home plate umpire Mike Lentz. Count goes to 3 balls, 1 strike to Talon Schuller. And here's a Thornquist pitch. Swing and a miss there by Schuller. That will take the count to full now at 3-2. Bases are clear as we have 2 down here in the top half of the first inning. 2-0 in favor of Wellington. Ball hit into left center field. The center fielder coming in. Kisson makes the catch for out number 3. So top half of the first inning, 2-0 in favor of the Heat. You're listening to NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Stiles, General Manager of Wichita Burner, right here in beautiful downtown Wichita. I know how important it is to be on a winning team. My winning team of Jim Myers, Ashley Jansen, and Jeff Markowitz are here every day to provide you with the best customer service for your boiler and burner needs. On behalf of our team, we want to wish you and your team the best of luck at this year's 85th Annual NBC World Series. And welcome to Wichita!
And we welcome you back to X Stadium for the 85th National Baseball Congress World Series, powered by Weststar Energy. As we go to the bottom half of the first inning between the Denver, Colorado Cougars and the Wellington, Kansas Heat. The score is 2-0 in favor of Wellington. Leading off for the Denver Cougars will be the second baseman, number 3, Ricardo Prisado. It'll be followed by Schiffner and McKisson. Pitching for the Wellington Heat will be number 42, Dylan Grove. Defensively for the Heat at first base, we have number 37, Schaller. Second baseman will be number 8, Meza. At shortstop, number 5, Hartman. Third baseman, number 4, Banks. Left fielder will be number 24, Hegman. Center fielder will be number 11, Allen. Right fielder will be number 1, Royal. Catching, number 7, Hudson. And once again, pitching for Wellington, number 42, Dylan Grove. First pitch was a ball. Here's the ball lifted into left field. Left fielder, Dunham, backing up. Making the catch for out number 1. That's going to bring up the third baseman, number 18, Nick Schiffner. We'll get it. First pitch is a ball. And I see that they have number 15, Dunham, out in left field instead of Hegman. Okay, looks like we do got to correct it now. That is Justin Dunham in left field. Count is full now. Swing and a miss there by Schiffner. So Grove records his first strikeout of the ball game as they're now 2 down here in the bottom half of the first inning. That's going to bring up the center fielder, number 8, Mac McKisson. So we have 2 down. Swing and a miss there by McKisson. 91 an hour fastball by Dylan Grove. So he gets ahead of the batter. No balls and 1 strike. That missing inside for ball 1. That will even up the count now at 1 ball and 1 strike. Once again, we're just in the bottom half of the first inning. The score 2-0 in favor of the Wellington Heat. Ball hit right back to the pitcher, but I believe it's going to be a foul ball. I must have got the foot of McKisson. So the home plate umpire called timeout right away. So the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 down, nobody on here in the bottom half of the first inning. That one is fouled off to the left side. Ball lifted along the left-hand side. Left fielder and the third baseman are run out of room as they run into the fence area in the bullpen. So the count stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Left-handed batter is McKisson as he lifts that into center field. That's going to fall in for a base hit as Allen gets the ball in quickly. And McKisson records his first hit of the ball game and the first hit for the Cougars. That's going to bring up the designated hitter, number 31, Chris Santana. So now we have a runner at first base with 2 down here in the bottom half of the first. For the Denver Cougars, that ball lifted to the right-hand side. Taking chases. Luke Royal makes a diving effort, but it's going to fall foul. So the count goes to no balls and 1 strike. Santana is batting .500 as he is 2 for 4 here in the World Series. This is the second game for both teams. That's missing inside, so the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. The Wellington Heat lost to the Wichita Sluggers on Saturday by the score of 8-1. Count is 2 balls, 1 strike now to Santana. Ball is going to be fouled off along the third base side, so that will even up the count now at 2-2. McKisson on at first base has recorded a base hit. There is 2 down here in the bottom half of the first. And the Denver Cougars lost also to the Wichita Sluggers by the score of 10-3 on Sunday. So the Wichita Sluggers out of the Pool B will be the number 1 seed from Pool B. And then the winner of this game will be the runners-up out of Pool B. So this is a very important game for both of these two teams. One of them will move on to tomorrow's action, and another one will be going home. Count is still 2 balls, 2 strikes to Santana. There goes McKisson, and it is strike 3 for out number 3. You're listening to NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com.
What do you see? I see my daughter, a strong and independent woman, a skilled expert, living her life, and an inspiration to others. What do you see?
And we welcome you back to X Stadium for the 85th National Baseball Congress World Series, powered by Weststar Energy. This is Frank Martinez, your play-by-play announcer for tonight's ball game as we go to the top half of the second inning for the Wellington Heat. Leading off will be the left fielder, number 15, Justin Dunham. Noah Banks on deck with Jacob Allen in the hole. First pitch is fouled off by Dunham. So the count goes to no balls, 1 strike now to Justin Dunham. That ball lifted into center field. Center fielder McKisson makes the catch for out number 1. Now batting for the Heat will be the third baseman, number 4, Noah Banks. You can tell the wind is really down here in Wichita because the flag's just hanging from the pole. Ball hit to the shortstop, Wilbert. Wilbert goes to first. Strauss goes for the out. So that is a 6-3 put out for the second out. That'll bring up the center fielder, number 11, Jacob Allen. So we have 2 down here now in the top half of the second inning. The score 2-0 in favor of the Wellington Heat over the Denver Cougars. There's the pitch by Thornquist, missing for ball 1. This is Allen's first time at the plate here in the World Series. Allen is from Tucson, Arizona. It's a 6-foot, 195-pounder from Cal State University. Count is 2 balls and no strikes now to Allen. And Thornquist's pitch. Missing outside for ball 3 as that ball gets away from the catcher. Goes all the way back to the screen. So Thornquist falling behind here on Jacob Allen as the count goes to 3 balls and no strikes. Call strike 1. So the count will be 3-1. Now to Jacob Allen. In action today here at X Stadium. As we actually had, this is the 5th game. We finished up a rain delay from last night's game. That was ball 4 to Jacob Allen. He'll be taking first base on a walk. And he'll bring up the shortstop, number 5, Buster Hartman. They got him picked off and is going to be safe at second base. Jacob Allen, as he took off the pitcher, Thornquist went to first base to Strawson. He never even threw the ball down to second base as nobody was covering. So Jacob Allen will end up at second base on a stolen base. A ball hit right back to the pitcher. Thornquist knocks it down, picks it up, goes to first for out number 3. At the end of 1.5, it is the Wellington Heat 2 and the Denver Cougars 0. You're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com.
From the sea, come to you. I heard the laughing. Come from the sea, come to you. I'm someone like you. Na 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 na. I'm going to Wichita. I'm going to Wichita. I'm going to Wichita. And I'm going to Wichita.
Learn more at visitwichita.com.
And we welcome you back to X Stadium as we go to the bottom half of the second inning. Leading off for the Denver Cougars will be the shortstop, number 7, Judith Wilburn. And you heard that siren as the batter was not in the box within 5 seconds. So it's going to be a penalty. It's going to be strike 1 against Judith Wilburn. We have a pitch clock here at the NBC World Series. 90 seconds between innings and 20 seconds between pitches. And that time, Judith Wilburn was not in the batter's box within 5 seconds. And no pitch was thrown. There's one's fouled off by Wilburn. And the penalty was, it was called strike 1. So the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Wilburn. As Dylan Grove is in his second inning of work here for the Wellington Heat. That ball is fouled off by Wilburn. Wilburn is looking for his first hit of the World Series as he's 0 for 3 so far here in the World Series. That one hit to the right side. Meza moves to his right, goes to first for out number 1. So a 4-3 put out. Schaller had to move to his right along the right field side, but was able to keep his foot on the base. It's going to bring up the catcher number 5, Henry Piquero. Ball hit right up the middle. That may be a base hit. It does as it goes out into center field. So Piquetto will receive his first hit of the ball game. And the second hit for the Denver Cougars. So he'll be standing at first base. And now batting for the Cougars will be the first baseman, number 32, John Strauss. Runner at first base with one down here in the bottom half of the second inning. And that one almost hit Strauss. That was inside for ball one. As the score is 2-0 in favor of the Wellington Heat. Fastball there by Dylan Grove at 88 miles an hour. It was fouled off by Strauss, so the count will even up now at 1-1 strike. One down here in the bottom half of the second with a runner at first base. Swing and a miss there by Strauss. That will take the count to 1-2 strikes. The infield playing at double play depth. Left fielder in a little bit. And that's called strike three as that breaks in and hits the corner for out number 2 here in the bottom half of the second inning. As Dylan Grove records his third strikeout of the ball game. It's going to bring up the left fielder, number 19, Jordan McClellan. That was another breaking ball, missing for ball one. That one at about 72 miles an hour. Decent little crowd here. We've kind of thinned out a little bit, as most people do have to go to work tomorrow. That one also missing for ball two. 2-0 now the count to Jordan McClellan. High for ball three. So Dylan Grove already at 33 pitches. That one missing outside for ball four. So McClellan will reach on base on balls. That will make Piquetto go to second base. And that will bring up the right fielder, number 2, Juan Familia. 2-0 in favor of Wellington as we are in the bottom half of the second inning. But the Denver Cougars have runners at first and second. That ball fouled off to the right-hand side. First baseman Schaller moves to his left, but not going to be able to get to it. That is in the stands. So the count is no balls and one strike now to Familia. Once again, runners at first and second with 2 down. The winner of this game will move on into tomorrow's action. The loser will be done for the World Series. That one just missing. So the count goes to 1-1 strike. The high was 92 degrees here today in Wichita, but it was plenty hot. That one gets away from the catcher Hudson, so Piquetto will move to third base, and McClellan moves to second base. So now we have runners in scoring position with 2 down here in the bottom half of the second inning for the Denver Cougars. Tomorrow is supposed to be 92 degrees. Wednesday up to 96 degrees, and Thursday about 94 degrees. That ball is fouled off back into the stands area. That one hits up in the upper deck area and then bounces down to where some people were sitting at and almost hit a young man in the back there. Count is 2 balls, 2 strikes to Juan Familia. Right fielder for the Denver Cougars. Ball hits to the right-hand side. That may fall in for what a great effort there by Luke Royal, but not able to get to it as 2 runs score. And Juan Familia gets a base hit into short right field, but a great effort there by Luke Royal as he dives for that. Got a glove on it, but just was not able to contain it. So a base hit there by Familia and 2 RBIs. That's going to bring up the second baseman, number 3, Ricardo Prisado. So Piquero scores from third base, and Strauss scores from second base. As both runners were taken off in that hit to the right side. The score is now tied up at 2 apiece here in the bottom half of the second inning. Great job of hitting there by Juan Familia, as he just lifted that into short right field. That one calls strike. So I will take the count to no balls and 2 strikes. 2 down here in the bottom half of the second inning. Runner on at first base, as Familia just recorded a base hit and 2 RBIs. And here's Dylan Grove's pitch. There goes Familia, and not going to be a throw down to second base, as that Hudson had to move to his right to block that one. So Juan Familia is now at second base on that stolen base. Now in scoring position. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Prisado. That one missing for ball 2. That will even up the count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the umpire calls timeout as Dylan Grove was taking a look at Familia at second base as he was dancing around out there, looking like he might be taking off for third. Kind of caught the attention of Dylan Grove. Now Familia lacing up those shoes and pulling up those socks as we're ready to go now. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Prisado. And here's Grove's pitch. And there goes Familia to third base. That is going to be lifted into center field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. And coming across to score easily is Juan Familia. So now the score is the Denver Cougars 3 and the Wellington Heat 2. Nice job of hitting there by Prisado. So he lifts that into short center field for the base hit and an RBI. It's going to bring up the third baseman, number 18, Nick Schiffner. So 3-2 now the score. And there goes Prisado to second base. That hit to the third baseman. Umpires are taking a look to see whether somebody called timeout or not. Not exactly sure what the call is, because now they got runners at first and second, but the play was hit to the third baseman, Barks. And it looks like there's going to be runners at first and second. Want to see what the call is on that. But Schiffner now is at first base. Prisado's at second. There's a throwback to second base, going to be safe as Grove through to Hartman. And the count goes 1 ball, no strike now to McKisson. Still waiting on an official call to Schiffner, correction. They gave base hit there to. There goes the runners to second and third. Both runners will be safe. So Prisado now is at third base. Schiffner is now at second base. All right, we got catcher interference was the call for Schiffner. That's why he's on at first base, was on at first base. Actually, they just had a double steal by the Cougars. With McKisson up, McKisson swinging. And that will take the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wasn't sure about that call because the ball was hit to the third baseman, and the umpires, the home plate umpire just came up. Their ball hit to the third base side. Barks goes to Schaller for out number 3. But not before the Denver Cougars scored 3 runs at the end of 2 innings of play. Just Cougars 3 and the Heat 2. You're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City website at parkcitykansas.com.
No one should live a life burdened with type 1 diabetes. And the day is coming when nobody will, because we're here to cure it. And we're working to improve the lives of those affected by this relentless disease today by finding new therapies and advancing them to market, by advocating for greater access and better choices, by deepening our understanding of the disease. At JDRF, we're fighting T1D. We're making life better for those who live with it while creating a world without it.
And we welcome you back to the 85th National Congress World Series, powered by Westar Energy. As we are in the top half of the third inning now, the score 3-2 in favor of the Denver Cougars over the Wellington Heat. Leading off will be the right fielder, number 1, Luke Royal. Royal hit a triple in the first inning and scored a run. First pitch is called strike one. I'd like to thank our technician, Chris Worrell, for clarifying that play on the catcher interference. Here's Thornquist's pitch. A swing and a miss there by Royal. So the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Catcher setting up high pitch, and it's exactly where Thornquist throws at. But missing high and staying off of it was Luke Royal. So the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pitch missing high for ball 2 now, as that will even up the count at 2-2. This is NBC's of East Cancer Night here in X Stadium. Our promotion for tonight. There's a ball hit up the middle. Shortstop Wilbert moves to his left, goes to Strauss for out number 1. So a 6-3 put out for the first out here in the top half of the 3rd inning. We'll bring up the second baseman, number 8, Christian Meza. Tuesday, tomorrow night, will be Sedgwick County and KSN night. We have First Responders Tribute, Mental Health Awareness Night, and ball hit into left field by Meza, and he'll be in with a base hit. As he records his first hit of the ball game. And the 3rd hit for the Wellington Heat. That'll bring up the catcher number 7, Hunter Hudson. Once again, as I was saying, First Responders Tribute, Mental Health Awareness Night, free admission for first responders, $2 admission for Sedgwick County employees, and 2-for-1 hot dogs. And ComCare night. So come on out to the ballpark tomorrow as we have 4 games starting at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Count is 1 ball, and laying down a bunt is Hudson to the right-hand side as the pitcher Thornquist picks that up, and so we have a sacrifice bunt there by Hudson as Meza moves over to second base in scoring position. But there is now 2 down. That'll bring up the designated hitter, number 25, Pete Shearer. Call, strike, correction, ball 1. And here's Thornquist's pitch. A swing and a miss there by Shearer. So the ball got away from the catcher there as it bounced into the ground, but hustled after it. And Christian Meza had to stay at second base. That would take the count. I believe it's no balls and 2 strikes, but the scoreboard shows 1-1. Yet it is no balls and 2 strikes. I thought that first pitch was a strike that I saw the umpire call. Sometimes you just can't trust those balls and strikes guys. Bob Fry over there on the balls and strikes. I called you out from League 42. That missing outside, so the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. One ball, two strikes now to Shearer. That ball lifted along the left side. It's going to be in foul territory in the construction area. For those of you that don't know, the X Stadium here at WSU is under construction. They took out the third base dugout. They have 2 tents put up with orange barriers for dugouts as they are reconstructing part of the stadium. That ball hit to the right-hand side. Second baseman Brisado goes to first for out number 3. So at the end of 2.5 to score, the Cougars 3 and the Heat 2. And you're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.
Happy Monday. Hopefully you're enjoying day 3 of the NBC World Series. Another gorgeous day to be out at the ballpark beyond the cold front that moved through last night. Brought some showers and thunderstorms. Now drier air, more refreshing air has worked back in. Temperatures expected to be into the lower 90s through the rest of the evening, keeping that sun around quiet through 9 o'clock, tipping back into the lower 80s. High pressure keeps its grasp over us as we go throughout the rest of the night. 11 o'clock, tipping back into the upper 70s, still quiet and pleasant. Make sure you stay with your Storm Track 3 weather app for the latest and more updates throughout the rest of the evening. Have a great night at the NBC World Series.
And we welcome you back as we go to the bottom half of the third inning. The score 3-2 in favor of the Denver Cougars. Leading off for the Cougars in the bottom half of the third inning will be the designated hitter number 31, Chris Santana. And it's a good thing that we don't have to try to find their numbers because they're wearing camouflage jerseys, and I'm telling you what, you cannot tell their numbers for anything. I got my binoculars here, and I think even with my binoculars, I wouldn't be able to tell. That one was fouled off for strike 1. So the count is no balls and 1 strike now to Chris Santana, the designated hitter for the Denver Cougars. That one hitting the inside corner for strike 2. As Santana questions that call. It has a little something to say to the home plate umpire. He thought that was inside, so the count no balls, 2 strikes. That breaking pitch called strike 3. And that time Santana got fooled and just looked at third strike go by. It's going to bring up the shortstop, number 7, Judah Wilburn. So Santana's now 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts here in the ball game. Dylan Grove missing outside for ball 1. That one lifted into left field. That may be gone as that is hit into the very far corner. No, that does stay in at about 329. And left fielder Dunham went clear back to the fence, but it went over his head as it went off the wall. And in with a double is Judith Wilburn. Will be now at second base. When that thing was hit, that was hit so high, I was for sure that that ball would have been gone. But it just kind of hung there, and it did hit off the wall. And we are 330s down the line. 375 in the gaps and 390 into center field. And that was every bit of 329 to 330. Now coming up the bat is the catcher, number 5, Henry Piquero. as Wilburn is now at second base with one down. That ball hit to the shortstop. Hartman goes to first base for the putout, so it's a 6-3 out. And moving over to third base is Wilburn on the putout. It's going to bring up the first baseman, number 32, John Strauss. Strauss is from Golden, Colorado. 6'3", 205-pounder. He's a senior out of Hastings. Strauss struck out his first time in the bottom half of the second inning as he made the second out of that inning. Swing and a miss there by Strauss as that was way outside, but it fooled him. So the count now goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Runner at third base with 2 down. And the score 3-2 in favor of the Denver Cougars over the Wellington Heat, as we are in the bottom half of the third inning. That just missing. Breaking ball 75 miles an hour by Dylan Grove. About this time yesterday evening, on the third and final out of the bottom half of the third inning, that's when the rains came. And we had a rain delay till about 1 o'clock in the morning when they finally called it and said, we'll play ball here at 9 o'clock. That one missing outside. Nice job there by Hudson as he had to move clear to his right to make that stop. With a runner at third base, he just saved a run there. Count is full now at 3-2 to John Strauss, the first baseman for the Denver Cougars. Swing and a miss there by Strauss. He goes down swinging. So at the end of 3 innings of play, it is the Denver Cougars 3 and the Wellington Heat 2. You're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com.
What do you see? I'll tell you what I don't see. I don't see a dropout. I don't see laid off. I don't see hopeless. I see our future, bright and prosperous. What do you see?
And we welcome you back for the 85th National Baseball Congress World Series, powered by Westar Energy. This is Frank Martinez, your play-by-play announcer, as we go to the top half of the fourth inning. Leading off for the Wellington Heat will be the first baseman, number 37, Talon Schaller. Schaller flew out to center field to make the third out in the first inning, so he's 0 for 1 here in the ballgame. Eli Thornquist starting his fourth inning of work, as he has thrown 45 pitches now, 28 strikes and 17 balls. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike now to Schaller. Swing and a miss there by Schaller. So the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Schaller, the first baseman here for the Wellington Heat. And here's Thornquist's pitch. And that one fouled off and hits the catcher, Piquero. And the home plate umpire, like most umpires would do, when the ball hits a catcher, walks the ball out to the pitcher, Thornquist, giving Piquero a chance to catch his breath, make sure he's okay. As that one was fouled off around the hill area. So the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Schaller. As we're just starting the top half of the 4th inning. Once again, the score 3-2 in favor of Denver. That ball hit to Welburn at shortstop. Goes over to Strauss for the putout. So it's a 6-3 putout for out number 1. It's going to bring up the left fielder, number 15, Justin Dunham. Ball hit into left field for a base hit by Dunham. A good effort there by Schiffner as he reached out for that one, but was not able to get to it on that hard line drive by Dunham for the base hit. So Dunham records his first hit of the ball game. He'll be standing at first base with 1 down, and that'll bring up the third baseman, number 4, Noah Barks. Barks grounded out to the shortstop in the 2nd inning as he made the 2nd out. Now he's going to throw over to first base. Dunham back safely. Ball hit to the right-hand side. That's going to be in for a base hit. Into right field. Stopping at second base is Dunham. So Noah Barks records his first hit of the game, as now we have back-to-back singles by the Wellington Heat. So now we have runners at first and second with 1 down, and that'll bring up the center fielder, number 11, Jacob Allen. Allen reached on base in the 2nd inning on 4 balls. And he was left stranded at second base in the 2nd inning. A swing and a miss there by Allen. So the count goes to no balls and 1 strike. No balls and 1 strike, and here's the pitch. That hitting the outside corner. Nice pitch there by Eli Thornquist. As he goes up, no balls to 2 strikes. There is 1 down now here in the top half of the 4th inning. But the Wellington Heat do have runners at first and second. That is fouled off by Allen. So the count stays at 0-2. And here's Thornquist's pitch. A swing and a miss there by Allen. A great pitch there by Thornquist as he got Allen to chase a high ball. Swinging and missing for out number 2. It's going to bring up the shortstop, number 5, Buster Hartman. Hartman is 0 for 1 here in the ball game. So he hit a ball to the pitcher. It was thrown out at first base. So 2 down with runners at first and second. Here in the top half, the fourth. Ball hit to the right-hand side. That's going to be foul, as both Dunham and Barks took off on that hit, but it went foul. So both runners will head back to their bases. And the count is no balls and 1 strike. That missing high for ball 1. That will even up the count now at 1-1. I just looked to my left here in the announcer's booth. I'll get back to that in just a second. Here's the pitch. That missing for ball 2. As I was saying, I just looked to my left. We have Brett Hightower, the PA announcer, Mark Borst doing the clock, and then Bob Fry doing the balls and strikes. Now, if that isn't a crew, I don't know what is. Great bunch of guys that help out every year at the NBC World Series. We appreciate their hard work. A swing and a miss there by Hartman, as that is the 3rd out of the inning. At the end of 3.5, it is the Cougars 3 and the Heat 2. And you're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com. And we welcome you back. To X Stadium for the NBC World Series 85th, powered by Westar Energy. Leading off in the bottom half of the 4th inning for the Denver Cougars will be the left fielder, number 19, Jordan McClellan. And Dylan Grove starting his 4th inning of work, as he has thrown 62 pitches now, 38 strikes. And there's a foul ball to the right-hand side. That's going to be in the stands. So the count will go to 1 ball and 1 strike now to McClellan. As I was saying earlier, we were in a ball game last night when the rains came in the bottom half of the, actually had just made the 3rd out in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. We were getting ready to start the 4th when the rains came, and it poured here in Wichita. And like I say, finally at 1 o'clock in the morning, they decided to call it. It had rained too much. They thought they might be able to play because the rain stopped about that time, but the pitcher's mound was soaked. The turf, this is artificial turf here at X Stadium on the infield and outfield. The only dirt there is the pitcher's mound. They did have it covered up, but there was so much water on the infield that it had really soaked up that pitcher's mound. So they decided it wasn't going to be safe. So we came back and played at 9 o'clock, resumed the game in the 4th inning between the Derby Twins and the Dodge City A's. Derby, that score was tied up at 3 apiece at the time, and Derby went on to win that ball game 10-4. And it looks like it's going to be a walk to McClellan. So now up is the right fielder, number 2, Juan Familia. And Grove goes back to first base. McClellan ends safely. So we have a runner at first base with no out here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Cougars up 3-2 over the Heat. Swing and a miss there by Familia. That takes the count to no balls and 1 strike. Anyway, I was hoping that we stood away from the rain tonight because I can't take another night like we had last night. That one missing high for ball 1. That will even up the count now at 1 ball and 1 strike. Have to do a show tomorrow at KGSO along with Anthony Gorgeous. And we have a show from 6 to 9. I'll be there Tuesday and Wednesday. They've asked me to come in to fill in for Scott Stiles as he's going to Springfield, Missouri, I believe, or St. Louis, one of the two. Might be St. Louis, I believe. And Doug Downs is also on vacation, so Anthony, there's a throw down to second base, gets away, goes into center field, but in safely was McClellan. Familia goes down, call strike 3, it looks like, for out number 1. It's going to bring up the second baseman, number 3, Ricardo Brisado. Runner at second base. Well, actually, I believe he just, Familia just went and got a different bat, what the deal was. No, it is Brisado up there. That one missing outside, so the count will even up now at 1 ball, 1 strike. I think what happened was they switched bats as they both crossed each other. That's Familia and Brisado. So I thought that's what had happened. Swing and a miss there by Brisado. So the count goes to 1 ball, 2 strikes. As we have 1 down here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. One out. And here's the pitch. Ball hit to the right-hand side. That's going to be over the second baseman's head. Meza, and coming around third base. And that throw into home is going to be in time as McClellan didn't even stop at third base in the throw from Luke Royal to the catcher Hudson, as that was down the third base line. But a great job there by Hudson to make the catch and dive and touch McClellan before he was able to get to home plate for out number 2. So the play goes 9-2 for the putout. Brisado is on at first base with his second hit of the game. That ball hit to the third baseman. A great job there by Barks, and a great scoop there by Schaller at first base. As Barks had to move to his right, dove and jumped up and threw the ball across to Schaller for the third out. You're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com. And we welcome you back to the 85th National Baseball Congress World Series, powered by Westar Energy. As we go to the top half of the fifth inning, this is Frank Martinez, your play-by-play announcer for tonight's game. Leading off for the Wellington Heat will be the right fielder, number 1, Luke Royal. Royal made a great play the last inning as McClellan was standing at second base, and there was a base hit by Prasado, and he ends up throwing out McClellan. There's a base hit there by Luke Royal, is going to be in for a double. So Royal with his second extra base hit of the night, as he started off the ball game with a triple and now has a double here to start off the top half of the fifth inning. So Luke Royal starting things off for the Wellington Heat. It's going to bring up the second baseman, number 8, Kristen Meza. Pitch there by Thornquist, missing for ball 1. Luke Royal, the Newton Rebel player who has joined the Wellington Heat here in postseason play. Got a chance to meet his parents. Really enjoyed our conversation and the time that we got to spend together, even though it was not for very long. There's a ball hit to the right-hand side. That may fall in. That's going to be extra bases as Luke Royal comes around third base, and the game's going to be tied up now. And going to second base and stopping is Kristen Meza with a double and an RBI, as Meza records his second hit of the ball game. The score tied up now at 3 apiece. That's going to bring up the catcher, number 7, Hunter Hudson. So a double and two doubles in a row now for the Wellington Heat has tied up the ball game here in the top half of the fifth inning. There's going to be some action now in the Denver, Colorado Cougars bullpen. Try to get a number here. Looks like it's number 4. Like I say, they cannot see their numbers very well. They have camouflage jerseys that are white and black, and their numbers are black. But they kind of blend in with the camouflage. So now runner at second base, as Meza has just doubled. And no outs here in the top half of the fifth. There's a ball hit to the right-hand side. That's going to be in for a base hit. So Hudson, and then that ball gets away from the Familia, as he lets that ball go by. So Hudson will be ending up at third base, and Meza will score from second base. So we have a base hit and an error by the right fielder, Familia, as that one scooted by him. And now 2 runs have scored here in the top half of the 5th inning for the Wellington Heat, as they now take the lead 4-3. And pitching coach comes out for Colorado. Coaching staff is Mark Cirillo, Mark Dickerson, and Mark Leschansky. And now we have action in the bullpen. Once again, I think number 4 is one of them. Actually, he's the only one warming up, as the other one is the pitching coach. That's going to bring up the designated hitter, number 25, Pete Shearer, with Hudson at third base and no outs, as the Wellington Heat have taken a 4-3 lead here in the top half of the 5th inning. First pitch called strike one to Shearer, looking to put something on the right-hand side that could possibly score Hudson. That is fouled off by Shearer. So Thornquist goes up, no balls to 2 strikes against Shearer, as Thornquist needs an out here. That one just missing high for ball 1. That will take the count now to 1 ball, 2 strikes to Pete Shearer, the designated hitter here for the Wellington Heat. As we are in the top half of the 5th inning, 4-3 in favor of the Wellington Heat. That one missing high and outside for ball 2. That will even up the count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the count will go full now at 3-2. I believe it's Crumrine out there warming up. That missing for ball 4, as that was inside. So Shearer will go to first base on a walk, and will bring up the first baseman, number 37, Talon Schaller. Schaller is 0 for 2 here tonight, as he flew out to center field and grounded out to the shortstop to make the first out in the 4th inning. And now Paquero goes out to talk to Thornquist. I believe that's just to stall a little bit. Looks like we do have now 2 people warming up. Second guy warming up, it looks like it's number 6. So it's going to be either Crumrine or Artis. That will be coming in if there is a change. Runners at first and third with no out here in the top half of the 5th inning. 4-3 in favor of the Wellington Heat over the Denver Cougars. Swing and a miss there by Schaller. The count goes no balls, 1 strike. Looked like a breaking ball there by Thornquist. That Schaller was well ahead of that pitch. And here's Thornquist Steps off first, looks like. Thought he was going to get ready to go, then all of a sudden he steps off. So he'll reset. Yeah, Shearer's at first base. Hudson at third. On a base hit and an error. That swing and a miss there by Schuller. Takes the count to no balls and 2 strikes. That pitch looked a little bit outside. But Schuller went for it. So no balls, 2 strikes now to Schuller. That missing outside for ball 1. 84-mile-an-hour fastball. Missing high and outside. One ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss there by Schuller as he goes down swinging for out number 1 here in the top half of the 5th inning. That's going to bring up the left fielder, number 15, Justin Dunham. So Justin Dunham up with runners at first and third and 1 down. As he's trying to get another run across for the Wellington Heat. Missing low for ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes now to Dunham. And that one calls strike 1 as he hits the outside corner. As Thornquist has just thrown his 77th pitch here in the ball game. So we're in the 5th inning, top half of the 5th, and that one hits Dunham in the back. So he'll be taking first base as it hits batsman. Shearer will move to second base, who had reached on a base on balls. And standing at third base is Hudson, who had reached on a base hit and an error to the right fielder. It's going to bring up the third baseman, number 4, Noah Barks. Barks is 1 for 2 here tonight as he grounded out to the third baseman in the second inning and had a base hit. A hard hit ball to the third baseman. A great job there by Schiffner as he made that diving catch right at the bag and just falls on the bag for the double play. So that will end the top half of the 5th inning. The score, the Heat 4 and the Cougars 3. You're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com.
From the sea, come to you. I heard the laughing. Come from the sea, come to you. I'm someone like you. Na 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 na. I'm going to Wichita. I'm going to Wichita. I'm going to Wichita. And I'm going to Wichita.
Learn more at visitwichita.com.
And we welcome you back to X Stadium for the 85th National Baseball Congress World Series, powered by Westar Energy. As we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning, the score, the Wellington Heat 4 and the Denver Cougars 3. Leading off will be the center fielder, number 8, Mac McKisson. Well, the Wellington Heat had the bases loaded with 1 out. And they say that pitcher's best friend is a double play. And that's exactly what happened as it was a line shot to the third baseman. Sniffler, who dove to his right-hand side or the third base, made the catch and just touched the base for the double play to end the inning. 2 balls, no strikes, and there's strike one along the outside corner to McKisson, who is 1 for 2 here tonight. Came in the ball game, batting .250. That ball hit to the first baseman. It's going to go unassisted and makes the tag on the sliding McKisson at first base. So unassisted by the first baseman, Schaller, for the putout. It's going to bring up the designated hitter number 31, Chris Santana. Santana has been up to the plate twice here tonight and has struck out twice. So he's looking for his first hit of the ball game. First pitch is called strike one. That one is fouled off by Santana. There's the ball, hit it right back to the pitcher, and he goes to first base for out number 2. That's always a tough play for the pitcher, as he's used to throwing hard at home plate, and then for some reason, pitchers want to just lob that over to the first baseman, and that's about what he did there. And he's talking to the first baseman, Schaller. They're both kind of laughed about it. But that is a 1-3 put out. It's going to bring up the shortstop number 7, Judith Wilbert, who is 1 for 2 here tonight as he hit a double his last time up the plate and was left stranded at third base. Then he grounded out to the second baseman in the second inning. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Wilbert. There's a swing and a miss there by Wilbert, who's playing shortstop here this evening for the Denver Cougars. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes now. That missing inside. Tried to throw a breaking ball, and it almost didn't break, almost hit him. About 70 miles an hour. So count goes full now at 3-2 to Wilbert. With 2 down here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Swing and a miss there by Wilbert for out number 3. So at the end of 5 innings of play, it is the Wellington Heat 4 and the Denver Cougars 3. You're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com. We'll be right back. the shortstop, number 5, Buster Hartman. With Allen on at first base now, reaching on a base on balls. A bunt laid down there by Hartman. Great bunt. The pitcher Thornquist had only one play, and that's to go to first base. So Hartman does his job as he sacrifices a 1-3 and moves Allen over to second base in scoring position. That's going to bring up the right fielder, number 1, Luke Royal. Royal has been hot here tonight for the Wellington Heat as he's hit a triple and a double. And he's 2 for 3. Also grounded out to the shortstop in the third inning. Ball hit into the right side. Right fielder Familia chasing along with the Strauss, but not going to be able to get to it, as it will be a long foul ball for Luke Royal. And the count will go no balls and 1 strike. Nice effort there by Strauss, Prisado, and Familia as they try to chase that down on the right side. We're not able to get to it. Once again, Allen now standing at second base with 1 down here in the top half of the 6th inning. There's the pitch. Going to call strike on the outside corner. Luke Royal looks back at home plate umpire and just asks politely, where was that at? And he says, yes, sir, hit the outside corner. So the count is no balls, 2 strikes. Thornquist looking at Allen as Allen is dancing around second base. Shortstop Wilbert sneaking up behind him, but finally Thornquist steps off. Now we're set. Swing and a miss there by Luke Royal. It is fouled off maybe. The umpire thinks that it was fouled off. Now they do say that he did make the catch for out number 2. Home plate umpire wasn't sure, so he asked the field umpire. They both determined that he did catch the ball on the swing and a miss. So there's 2 down now here in the top half of the 6th inning. It's going to bring up the second baseman, number 8, Christian Meza, with Jacob Allen standing at second base. Swing and a miss there by Meza. Meza is 2 for 3 here in the ball game as he struck out his first time in the first inning. Got a single in the third inning and was left stranded at second base, and had a double in the 5th inning and scored Luke Royal, as Luke Royal has started off that inning also with a double. So Meza had a double and an RBI and also scored a run. Count is no balls, 1 strike now to Meza, with the runner at second base and 2 down. There's a ball fouled off there by Christian Meza. So the count quickly goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Ball hit to the left side. Shortstop Wilbert moves to his right, goes over to Strauss for out number 3. A 6-3 put out. So at the end of 5.5 innings of play, it's the Heat 4 and the Cougars 3. You're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com.
Neck pain, back pain, all kinds of sprains. If your knee replacement aches when it starts to rain, at Advanced Physical Therapy, we treat that. At Advanced Physical Therapy, we treat that. Concussions, arthritis, carpal tunnel, tooth, fibromyalgia, Parkinson's, we've got the treatment for you. At Advanced Physical Therapy, we treat that. At Advanced Physical Therapy, we treat that. One-on-one sessions with a personal touch. Ask our thousands of patients why they love us so much. At Advanced Physical Therapy, we treat that. At Advanced Physical Therapy, we treat that.
And we welcome you back to X Stadium as we go to the bottom half of the sixth inning. This is Frank Martinez, your play-by-play announcer. You're listening in and watching the Denver Cougars and the Wellington Heat. The Heat are up 4-3 as we go to the bottom half of the sixth inning. Batting will be the catcher, number 5, Henry Piquero. That ball hit hard to the right center field. Center fielder backing up, and that's going to be in for extra bases. Rounding second base, almost getting thrown out there as that went to third base instead. If they would have gone to second base, they would have definitely had him because Piquero had rounded second base, and the first baseman, Schaller, was standing right on second base, but the relay was thrown to third base as it should be. So Piquero's in with a double, brings up the first baseman, number 32, John Strauss. And Piquero records his second hit of the game. He had a single in the second inning and scored a run. And now he has a double standing at second base. First pitch is ball 1 to Strauss. As Dylan Grove has now thrown 90 pitches. That one calls strike, so the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. Has a total of 56 strikes and 34 balls. Squaring up is Strauss, and he's tagged out by first baseman Schaller. Moving over to third base is Piquero. So unassisted there, sacrificed by Strauss as he moves Piquero over to third base. Brings up the left fielder, number 19, Jordan McClellan. So there's one down here in the bottom half of the sixth inning. The tying run is now standing 90 feet away at third base. First pitch calls strike 1 on that breaking ball by Dylan Grove. So it hits the inside corner for the strike. Cleveland is officially 0 for 0, but he's reached base twice now on 2 walks, has scored 1 run in the second inning. And was thrown out at home plate by Luke Royal as he tries scoring on the base hit. Swing and a miss there by McClellan. Count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner at third base with 1 down here in the bottom half of the sixth. The Heat up 4-3 over the Denver Cougars. Swing and a miss there. And the ball gets away from the catcher. He goes to first for the putout. Recorded as a strikeout for out number 2. It's going to bring up the right fielder, number 2, Juan Familia. Piqueros at third base as he reached on a double. Moved over to third base on a sacrifice by Strauss. And he's there now with 2 down. And looks like that breaking ball missing for ball 1. I thought that he hit Familia the way he acted. The ball broke in there for a ball. That getting away from the wild pitch there. It's a play at home, but Hudson just fires that past Grove, and Piquero will score from third base. That was a wild pitch. Hudson had no chance to get to that one as Grove threw that one just by Hudson. And Hudson did the same thing coming back as there was going to be a play at home plate. But he fired that back wide of Grove along the third base side. So now the score tied up at 4 apiece. That one fouled off by Familia. As the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Swing and a miss there by Familia, as that takes the count now to full at 3-2. Ball is fouled off by Familia. So the count will stay full now at 3-2. So 1 run has been scored here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. And the score tied up at 4 apiece now between Denver and Wellington. That one also fouled off by Familia. So we're still a full count here. And here's the pitch. Swing and a miss there by one Familia. I guess that's going to be fouled off, apparently. I've got headphones on. I can't hear sometimes when that is fouled off. That one is a swing and a miss, and that gets away from the catcher. That's way outside. And Familia will be on at first base. Strikeout on a wild pitch. And here comes, I believe it's Twyman. No, that is not Twyman. Pitching coach coming out to talk to Dylan Grove. We may have a change here. And we are going to have a pitching change for the Wellington Heat. We'll be right back on this pitching change. All right, we welcome you back now. The pitching change for the Wellington Heat. Looks like it's going to be number 46 coming in. That's James Biles from Bay Point, California. 6'1", 220-pounder, right-handed thrower. Coming in now for the Wellington Heat. So we'll give you the numbers for Dylan Grove. He went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned runs, 2 base on balls, and a total of 9 strikeouts as he faced 27 batters. So Biles now on for the Wellington Heat. And now batting the second baseman, number 3, Ricardo Prisado. As Familia is on at first base. There he goes. Throw down to second base. Not going to be, yes, they are. It's going to be in time. A great play there by the second baseman, Meza. I just wasn't sure whether he had made that catch or not because Familia took off and I thought he was going to be there safely, but Meza made a great play. So at the end of 6 innings of play, the score tied up at 4 apiece. You're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com. We'll be right back.
The Kansas Humane Society is a community resource for pets and people dedicated to enhancing the welfare of all companion animals. We offer an array of services that promote the human and animal bond, including pet adoption, dog training, behavior consultation, pet supplies, outreach, spay and neuter, end-of-life services, field trips, and community outreach.
And we welcome you back as we go to the top half of the 7th inning. Score tied up at 4 apiece. Leading off for Wellington Heat will be the catcher, number 7, Hunter Hudson. And Eli Thornquist still out on the mound for the Denver Cougars. First pitch is ball 1 to Hudson. As Hudson is 2 for 2 here this evening. Had a base hit and scored a run in the first. And had a base hit and ended up in third base as the ball went past the right fielder. Ended up at third base on that error. Was left stranded there. That was the inning that the Wellington Heat had the bases loaded. With 1 out. And Barks hit into a double play as he had a line shot to the third baseman. And he was able to make the catch and just land on the third base for the double play. Ball hit to the second baseman. Persado goes to Stas for out number 1. So a 4-3 put out for the first out. We'll bring up the designated hitter, number 25, Pete Shearer. So Shearer up. Count is no balls and 1 strike, and a ball hit foul along the first base side. That will take the count to no balls and 2 strikes. Count is 1-2 now to Shearer. As we are in the top half of the 7th inning, score tied up at 4 apiece between the Wellington Heat and the Denver Cougars. Once again, the winner of this game will move on. Will be the conclusion of pool play. The loser will go home. Count is still 1-2, and here's the pitch from Thornquist. That ball is drove it into right center field. That's going to be in the gap for extra bases for Shearer. He's heading around to third base, and there's the throw to third base. Not going to be in time as Shearer is in with a triple. A great relay play there to the third baseman, but just not in time. And credit does go to the home plate umpire, Mike Lentz, as he was right on top of the bag when he made that call. So Pete Shearer will now be at third base as he records his first hit of the game. That's going to bring up the first baseman, number 37, Talon Schaller. Schaller looking for his first hit of the ball game. 1 out. And the go-ahead run now at third base. Swing and a miss there by Schaller. Schaller struck out his last time at the plate. Grounded out to the shortstop to make the first out in the 4th inning. And flew out to center field to make the 3rd out in the 1st inning. That one is fouled off, so the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Oh, and 2 now, the count to Schaller. With Shearer on at third base. The infield in just a little bit, trying to prevent that go-ahead run. That missing outside for ball 1. That will take the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. There's the pitch fouled off by Schaller. So the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes now with 1 out. With the runner at third base. That missing high for ball 2. That will even up the count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ball hit to the right-hand side, and the play's going to be coming into the home. Now they got him hung up. Shearer hung up, and here comes Shearer. Looks like he is going to be out at third base as the third baseman, Schiffner, got the ball from Picaro. And there is 2 down now, but on that play, Schaller ends up at second base. Reached on a fielder's choice. So we have 2 down now. A great play there by the second baseman, Rosado, as he fires that into Piquero. And now batting will be the left fielder, number 15, Justin Dunham. And a heads-up play by Schaller as he ends up in second place. That ball getting away from the catcher And that catcher just ran into the umpire as he was chasing that ball down. Mike Lentz is a little shaken up there at home plate. So he looks like he might have got hit either in the neck area or in the face area. So we have runner at second base now. Looks like Lentz is okay. The count is 3-0 now to Dunham. And here's the pitch. Bat missing high for ball 4. So Justin Dunham will now be at first base. Talon Schuller at second base. And that's going to bring up the third baseman, number 4, Noah Barks. But it looks like we may be having a pitching change as coach comes out for the Denver Cougars. And it does look like we will be having a change. Looks like it's going to be number 6 coming in to the ball game. That's going to be Adam Artless coming in from Fort Collins, Colorado. From Trinidad State Junior College, where he's a sophomore. 6'1", 178-pounder. Left-handed thrower. Now coming in to pitch for the Denver Cougars. Once again, we are in the top half of the 7th inning. We have runners now at first and second. And Noah Barks now at the plate. There is 2 down. Score tied up at 4 apiece. And we're ready to go here. Ball lifted up to second baseman. He gets under it, makes the catch. Risotto for out number 3. So top half of the 7th inning. We're all tied up at 4 apiece. You're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com. We'll be right back.
Man, this is serious business. You gotta have an appetite for this kind of thing. You gotta have a hunger to succeed.
Side effects may include hilarity, laughter, smiles, childlike behavior, lots of good feelings, and making of a lifelong friend.
Mentoring. It's easier than you think and serious fun. Change the game.
And we welcome you back to the 85th National Baseball Congress World Series, powered by Westar Energy, as we go to the bottom half of the seventh inning. The score tied up at 4 apiece between the Denver Cougars and the Wellington Heat. This is Frank Martinez, your play-by-play announcer. Leading off in the bottom half of the seventh inning will be the second baseman, number 3, Ricardo Prisado. And Biles is on with his second inning now. Swing and a miss there by Prisado. Count goes no balls, 2 strikes. Good ball game here this evening. So far for the Wellington Heat, they've scored 4 runs on 9 hits, 1 error. And the Denver Cougars have scored 4 runs on 7 hits and 1 error. If you're just now joining us, Wellington started off the scoring by scoring 2 runs in the top half of the first inning. That ball hit to the shortstop. Hartman goes to Schaller for out number 1. A 6-3 put out for the first out. Brings up the third baseman, number 13, Nick Schiffner. And then the Denver Cougars scored 3 runs in the bottom half of the second inning to take a 3-2 lead. Swing and a miss there by Schiffner. And it stayed that way until the 5th inning when the Wellington Heat scored 2 runs to take a 4-3 lead. Ball hit to the third baseman. Barks goes over to Schaller for out number 2, a 5-3 put out for the second out. And then in the bottom half of the 6th inning, Denver scored 1 run to make it 4-4. And that's where we stand here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. That brings up the center fielder, number 8, Mac McKisson. As we have 2 down here in the bottom half of the 7th. First pitch is called ball 1. 2-0 now the count to McKisson. Ball hit to the second baseman, Meza. Scoops it up, goes to Schaller for out number 3, a 4-3 put out. So at the end of 7, we are tied up at 4 apiece. And you're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com. We'll be right back.
I'm Terry Bradshaw. Like many of you, I took the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge back in 2014. My man Pat Quinn here, well, he's one of the founders.
Thanks to all of you who took the challenge.
ALS is a nasty disease with no cure. It robs a person of their ability to walk, talk, and breathe. Since the Ice Bucket Challenge, we've discovered new ALS genes and potential treatments. If we can cure ALS, we can cure anything. Please join me and Pat in the fight against ALS.
And we welcome you back. As we go to the top half of the 8th inning, we're going to have a pinch hitter for the Wellington Heat. Looks like it's going to be number 14, Jason Bray. Coming up to pinch hit for the Wellington Heat. First pitch is a ball. Missing for ball 2. And a count now, 2 balls and 1 strike. Is Artless. It came in to relieve Thornquist. And that will even up the count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ball hit to the second baseman. Brisado goes to Strauss for out number 1. On a 4-3 put out. It's going to bring up the shortstop number 5, Buster Hartman. With 1 down here in the top half of the 9th inning. And Artis falls behind, 2 balls to no strikes now to Hartman. Beautiful evening here in Wichita, Kansas. Ball hit to the third baseman. Third baseman Schiffner makes the play for out number 2 on a 5-3 put out. For the second out here in the top half of the 8th. That's going to bring up the right fielder, number 1, Luke Royal. Royal struck out his last time at the plate in the 6th inning. Had a double in the 5th and scored a run. Grounded out to the shortstop in the 3rd and hit a triple to start off the ball game and also scored a run. So he's 2 for 4 here this evening. First pitch is called strike 1 to Luke Royal. Missing outside for ball 1. That will even up the count now at 1-1. Those of you just joining us in, we hope you enjoy the telecast. It is being live streamed on YouTube and Facebook this year. Thanks to our technician, Chris Worrell, who does a fine job here for the NBC World Series. So the count now goes to 2 balls, 1 strike. Ball is fouled off by Luke Royal. That will even up the count now at 2-2. And here's the pitch. Ball hit into center field. A base hit there by Luke Royal as he records his 3rd hit of the ball game. And he's trying to do exactly what one of his teammates, Enzo the Boom Bonventry, as he hit the cycle this year. And now Luke Royal is just a home run away from that cycle. But we are in the 8th inning. Not sure if he'll get another chance or not. That brings up the second baseman, number 1, Kristen Meza. Swing and a miss there by Meza. We'll take the count now to no balls and 2 strikes. Luke Royal, who just reached on a base hit, is at first base with 2 down here in the top half of the 8th inning. The score tied up at 4 apiece between the Cougars from Denver and the Wellington Heat. There's a swing and a miss there by Meza as he records the 3rd out. So at the end of 7 1/2, the score tied up at 4 apiece. And you're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com. We'll be right back. Well, we welcome you back for the 85th National Baseball Congress World Series as we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. The score tied up at 4 apiece, and leading off for the Denver Cougars will be the designated hitter number 31, Chris Santana. Santana is 0 for 3 here this evening. So he struck out twice and hit one right back to the pitcher on a 1-3 putout. James Biles now on the mound for the Wellington Heat. 2-0 now the count to Santana. That hitting the outside corner, so that will take the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. That one is fouled off by Santana. That will even up the count now at 2-2. That one hits Santana in the handle. Went to second base. Meza goes to Schaller for out number 1. So a 4-3 put out for the first out here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. We'll bring up the shortstop number 7, Judah Wilbert. Wilbert had a double in the 3rd inning, was left stranded at third base, has grounded out to the second baseman, and has struck out. So he's 1 for 3 here in the ball game. That was fouled off to the right-hand side in the Cougars bullpen area. No balls, 1 strike now to Wilbert with 1 down. That one is fouled off by Wilbert. So the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. A good ball game here by both these two teams. Only 1 error per team. They're pretty evened up on the hits. That one fouled off the foot of Wilbert. The count stays at no balls, 2 strikes. For Wellington, they've had 4 runs on 10 hits and 1 error so far. And the Denver Cougars have 4 runs on 7 hits and 1 error. And here's the pitch. Ball lifted into left center field. That's going to be in possibly for extra base, but a great job there by the center fielder, Allen, as he gets that in quickly, but not in time. Hustling to second base is Judith Wilbert, and he's in with a double. For a second there, I thought it was going to get to the gap and go all the way to the fence, but Allen did a great job of getting to it, cutting it off, and getting it in quickly. Was able to get it to the second base, but not in time. That's going to bring up the catcher, number 5, Henry Piquero. So runner at second base now, the go-ahead run for the Denver Cougars. Once again, the winner will move on to bracket play. The loser will be going home, as both teams are 0-1 as they face the Wichita Sluggers. And the Sluggers defeated both these two teams. Count now goes to 2 balls and no strikes. Runner at second base with 1 down here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Score tied up at 4 apiece. That missing outside for ball 3. With the first base open, may be a good place to put Piquero to get the double play situation. And that one calls strike 1 on an 83-mile-an-hour fastball by Biles. And here's the pitch, missing low for ball 4. So Piquero will be on at first base with a walk. Wilbert still at second base. And it's going to bring up the first baseman, number 32, John Strauss. And we may be having a pitching change. Looks like we are. This time we're going to stay here. Looks like coming in to pitch will be number 35. Coming in for Wellington will be number 35, Robbie Brown, right-handed thrower. Bullhead City, Arizona, 6'3", 200-pounder. From Benedict University, Mesa. He's a junior. Once again, number 35 now coming in for the Wellington Heat. And let me get him in the books here, as it is Robbie Brown now pitching for the Heat. Well, the score tied up at 4 apiece here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. And once again, at the beginning of the show, we said how important this game was. As the Wichita Sluggers defeated Wellington 8-1. And then the Wichita Sluggers defeated the Denver Cougars 10-3. So both these two teams are 0-1. Where the Sluggers have already qualified to move on to bracket play starting tomorrow. The tiebreakers is win and loss record, and the second tiebreaker is head-to-head. So the winner of this game will be the second team out of Pool B to make bracket play. That all starts, I believe, tomorrow. All right, we're ready. Once again, now batting will be the first baseman, number 32, John Strauss. As we have runners at first and second with one down. Wilbert standing at second base as he reached with a double. And Paquito just walked to put runners at first and second. And Robbie Brown now pitching for the Wellington Heat. Ball hit to the second base, but that may be a double play. Shortstop makes a great play as he grabs the ball, touches second base, and goes to first for the double play. Another friend for the pitcher, the double play. And at the end of 8, the score still tied at 4 apiece. You're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com. We'll be right back.
What do you see? I see my daughter, a strong and independent woman, a skilled expert, living her life, and an inspiration to others. What do you see?
And we welcome you back for the 85th National Baseball Congress World Series, powered by Westar Energy. This is Frank Martinez, your play-by-play announcer, as we go to the top half of the ninth inning. The score tied up at 4 apiece between the Wellington Heat and the Denver Cougars. Leading off top half of the ninth inning for the Heat will be the catcher, number 7, Hunter Hudson. First pitch to him is called strike one. No balls, one strike now to Hudson. As Adam Artis is on in relief here for the Denver Cougars. That missing for ball one, so that will even up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Swing and a miss there by Hudson. That will take the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. So on a tied ball game here in the top half of the ninth inning. We'll see who bends here. That one missing way outside. That will even up the count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one fouled off by Hudson. Artis now has gone 1 1/3 innings. Has a total of 21 pitches so far. And here's the pitch. That ball hit to the third baseman. Shifter moves to his left, goes across his body to the first baseman's cross for out number 1. So a 5-3 put out is the out. Yes, we have 1 down here in the top half of the ninth inning. It's going to bring up the designated hitter, number 25, Pete Shearer. Shearer reached with a triple the last time up to the plate in the 7th inning. That is fouled off by Shearer. But he made the second out. So he got caught in a rundown, I believe. That one lifted into left field. Left fielder McClellan moving over to the foul area territory, the foul line, I should say, making the catch for out number 2. It's going to bring up the first baseman, number 32, Talon Schaller. 12:35 a.m. here in Wichita, Kansas. Swing and a miss there by Schaller. Ball hit to the shortstop, moves to his right. That's Wilbert. Not in time as Wilbert threw the ball towards the home plate area at first base. And that is a base hit by Schaller by official scorer, Hall of Famer Michael Dean. So we have a runner at first base now as Schaller records his first hit of the game. And looks like a coach for the Denver Cougars is arguing something, or asking a question, I should say. It's going to bring up the left fielder, number 15, Justin Dunham, with Schaller at first base and 2 down here in the 9th inning. Pitch missing inside for ball 1 by Adam Artis. And the count is 1 ball, no strikes. Score tied up at 4 apiece. That missing outside for ball 2. Once again, this is the first year that the NBC World Series has been being played here at X Stadium on the campus of Wichita State University. That one in for a strike. So that will take the count now to 2 balls and 1 strike. A little bit different than Lawrence Dumont Stadium. That one missing low for ball 3. The press box area that we're in is definitely a lot nicer than Lawrence Dumont Stadium. Of course, Lawrence Dumont Stadium was a very old stadium that had been around for many years. It was time for a facelift. And those of you that don't know or are not aware, that stadium has been tore down and they got a new stadium coming in for a Triple-A team from the Miami Marlins. And here's the pitch, 3-1 count. That's going to be ball 4. So now the go-ahead run will be at second base as Schaller moves to second and Dunham reaches first base with a walk. And it'll bring up the third baseman, number 4, Noah Barks. Barks flew out to the second baseman his last time at the plate and hit into that line shot double play at third base. And here comes coach for the Cougars. We'll see if we're going to have a change or not, as we do have a right-handed thrower out on the bullpen. And that is going to be it for him. And coming in will be number 31. And in for the number 31 will be Looks like it's Chris Santana, the designated hitter. Well, actually, he's coming in to play a position. Coming in to pitch is number 18. So coming in to pitch is number 18, which is Nick Schiffner, the third baseman. And number 31, Santana. Looks like he'll be moving over to third base. There is runners at first and second here in the top half of the ninth inning. As there is 2 down. And the score tied up at 4 apiece. Winner moves on, loser will go home. That will conclude their 85th National Baseball Congress World Series. I hope I said 85th because that's what it is. So once again, the batter, third baseman number 4, Noah Barks. Both these two pretty well evened up. Say Wellington has 4 runs on 11 hits and 1 error, and Denver has 4 runs on 8 hits and 1 error. So pretty evenly played ball game so far. There is runners at first and second with 2 down. As we are tied up at 4 apiece. Pitch there by Schiffner, who is now the new pitcher. That missing outside for ball 2. That will take the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. That will even up the count now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. To Noah Barks. And here's Schiffner's pitch. Fouled off there by Barks. So the count stays at 2-2. Deuces wild as we have 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 runners on base, and 2 outs. That ball hit to the shortstop. Shortstop's going to have 1 play. That's at first base for out number 3. So a 6-3 put out for the third out. At the end of 8.5, the score tied up at 4 apiece. And you're listening to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com. We'll be right back.
What do you see? I see a new day. To continue my journey, riding towards my goal. To create the life I've always wanted. I do what it takes. And now I ride to my dream job. What do you see?
And we welcome you back as we go to the bottom half of the ninth inning. The score tied up at 4 apiece as they play Sweet Caroline here at X Stadium. Leading off for the Denver Cougars will be the left fielder, number 19, Jordan McClellan. Once again, score tied up at 4 apiece as we go to the bottom half of the ninth inning. Robbie Brown on the mound for the Wellington Heat. And that one looks like it did hit him. So the go-ahead run now on at first base as a hit batsman. And it'll bring up the right fielder, number 2, Juan Familia. Look for a bunt here as they will try to put him in scoring position as he is now the winning run on base with the score tied up at 4 apiece here in the bottom half of the ninth. Familia does have one hit in the ball game. That was in the second inning. Squares around a bunt, calls strike. Also reached on a strikeout and a pass ball, or a wild pitch, I should say, but was thrown out at second base in the sixth inning. And it also recorded a strikeout in the fourth. So he is 1 for 3 here tonight. That bunt is foul. Count goes to 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Juan Familia. That time Familia had the bat back behind the front of the base. And if you know how to bunt, you know that you got to get the bat out in front of the base, home plate, to lay down a good bunt. Some reason it's a lost art these times. I've seen this many times this year. Timeout, so the count is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Not necessarily by the Denver Cougars, but just in all the play-by-play we did this year. McClellan at first base, and we have no outs as he hits back and Familia steps out again. Looks like McClellan is itching to go. That's missing high. I think we had a balk called. We did have a balk called. He goes to second base, so the winning run now is at second base. Count stays at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Infield will be in at third base. In the middle infield, just a little shallow, not much, as the second baseman is back towards the grass area, but the shortstop holding the runner on. Once again, that is the winning run at second base. That ball lifted into a left field. Left fielder is going to be able to get under it. That's Dunham making the catch for out number 1. Going to bring up the second baseman, number 3. But before we do that, looks like we are going to have another pitching change for the Wellington Heat. Looks like it's going to be number 2. Number 2 coming in for the Wellington Heat. That's Stephen Pagadarm, correction. He's from Lubbock, Texas, a 5'8", 875-pounder. I bet you that's not the first time he's had his name mispronounced. So Stephen Pagadarm coming in to relief for the Wellington Heat. Going to get him down in the books here. So he'll be coming in relief. We'll give you the numbers for Brown. I forgot to give you a number for Biles. He went 1 2/3 innings, gave up 1 hit, 1 base on balls as he faced 6 batters. Brown went 1 inning, no hits, no errors, no earned runs, no base on balls, and no strikeouts as he faced 3 batters. But one of those batters is now standing at second base, and it could be the winning run. So if Denver does score that run, that will be charged to Robbie Brown. We do have 1 down here in the bottom half of the 9th inning, with the score tied up at 4 apiece. Well, I hope my co-host tomorrow morning has a lot to talk about, because it's going to be a late night here for us, unless they score a run here. Got a show that starts at 6 o'clock on KGSO 93.9. If you would like to listen in, be there for the next 2 days with Anthony Gorgeous. That swing and a miss there by Prasado. So the count goes no balls and 1 strike. The game plan is called on KGSO. Doug Downs and Scott Stiles are the host. They are both out of town, so Anthony Gorgeous will be the host, and I'll be the co-host tomorrow and Wednesday. Swing and a miss there. The count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Didn't see exactly what the radar gun said on that one, but that was well thrown there by Pagadarm. Pagadarm, correction. I couldn't read my own writing there. 1 ball, 2 strikes now, as we are in the bottom half of the 9th inning. 1 down, runner at second base. Ball hit to into the gap. That may be enough for, no, there's going to have to stop. But the runner does go to second base on the play, as that ball was hit between the third baseman and the shortstop. But a great job there by Dunham as he charged that in left field. And McClellan had nowhere to go but stay at third base. So Prasado is on with a base hit and moves to second base on the throw. And that brings up now the pitcher, number 18, Nick Sniffner. Wouldn't be surprised. The infield is in. if they don't walk him here. Definitely won't give him anything good. There's a swing and a miss there by Schiffner, who came in to pitch for the Denver Cougars. Once again, the infield in. The outfield also in. So they're trying to prevent the winning run at third base from scoring. Schiffner is 1 out of 4 here tonight. For some reason, the point streak showing 0 for 3, but he had a base hit in the second inning. Unless that was recorded as an error. Once again, the infield creeping in. Ball hit the middle, and that's going to be it. That's going to be the ball game. And coming in to score is McClellan. And the final score is the Denver Cougars 5 and the Wellington Heat 4. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed the telecast. Once again, congratulations goes to the Denver Cougars as they will move on into bracket play. And that does end the 85th National Baseball Congress World Series for the Wellington Heat. We wish them well and congratulate them on their fine season. Once again, this is Frank Martinez. Hope you enjoyed the telecast. Stay tuned for our games tomorrow as we have 4 games starting at 1 o'clock. Those will be posted on our website. And we thank you very much for listening in. Once again, you're listening in to the NBC World Series live stream presented by Park City, Kansas. Visit Park City's website at parkcitykansas.com. We wish you a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.